All right, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into Walgreens' latest earnings call. Got the transcript right here, and let me tell you, it's a doozy. Numbers, jargon, the whole shebang, but that's why you've got us right. We'll break it down, make sense of it all, and figure out what's really going on with this retail giant.
And it's a pivotal moment for Walgreens. They're walking a tightrope between some pretty dismal financial results and these bold, almost aggressive moves to reshape the company.
Yeah, and they're not sugarcoating it either. They're upfront about the rough year, earnings down, profits squeezed. Not exactly music to an investor's ears.
No, but it's encouraging to see them actually taking action. They've got this new management team in place, and they're already making waves, big cost-cutting measures, a whole new strategic direction, and they're even willing to shake up their assets. I mean, did you catch that bit about over $1 billion in cost savings? That's a statement.
Oh yeah, a billion with a B. Clearly they mean business. And this whole back to basics, retail pharmacy-led strategy, it's like they're remembering what made them great in the first place.
Exactly. They're doubling down on that core strength, being your trusted neighborhood pharmacy, that place you can rely on. Makes sense, especially now with competition in the general retail space being what it is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who needs to fight Amazon for the cheapest tube of toothpaste, right?
Nah.
But pharmacy, that's different. It's personal. It's about health. It's about that human connection with someone you trust.
You hit the nail on the head. And Walgreens knows that, but they're also not afraid to make tough calls. Closing 1,200 stores, even if they are underperforming, that's a bold move.
Yeah, 1,200 fewer Walgreens on street corners. That's going to leave a mark. Don't even get me started on what this means for all the employees and communities impacted. We could do a whole other deep dive on that alone. But for now, let's talk about another battle they're facing. The showdown with those mysterious PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers.
Ugh, yes, the PBMs. They're like the puppet masters of the pharmaceutical world. Basically, they're the middlemen between drug makers, pharmacies like Walgreens, and your insurance plan. They're the ones calling the shots on drug prices and deciding how much pharmacies get reimbursed for dispensing those drugs.
So they hold all the cards. That doesn't seem fair.
It's a bit more complicated than that, but yeah, they wield a lot of power, and that's Walgreens' big headache right now. These PBMs are squeezing them on reimbursements, cutting into their profits, and making it hard to stay afloat.
So Walgreens is stuck between a rock and a hard place, needing the PBMs to reach customers with insurance, but getting squeezed dry in the process. What's their game plan?
Well, they're not taking it lying down, that's for sure. Wentworth was pretty clear about that in the earnings call. They're in the trenches, negotiating hard for better reimbursement rates from the PBMs. And they even hinted at potentially breaking away from some networks if they don't get a fair shake.
Oh, that's a gutsy move. But also kind of risky, right? What happens to people who rely on their insurance at Walgreens?
It's a high-stakes gamble, for sure. This whole situation really highlights the immense pressure and tension in the pharmaceutical industry right now. How these negotiations play out could have a domino effect on Walgreens, customers, and the entire pharmacy landscape.
It's like we're watching a slow-motion chess match, and things are about to get really interesting. It's like they're playing poker with billions of dollars on the line.
Ah,
And speaking of big bets, what about this whole Village MD situation? They're thinking of selling it off already. What happened there?
Village MD, that's an interesting one. See, that was Walgreens' big foray into primary care a while back. They bought a majority stake in Village MD, which, by the way, is a network of doctors' offices, clinics, the primary care kind of setup.
Right, right. Okay, so they're trying to create this like one-stop shop for healthcare. See your doctor, then bam, walk 5 feet to the pharmacy counter, pick up your prescription. Convenient, but I guess not so simple in reality. If it was such a brilliant idea, why are they backing away now?
Well, for a bunch of reasons. Running a whole network of clinics, it's not exactly cheap. Building them, staffing them, it's a big investment. And remember, Walgreens is in cost-cutting mode right now, trying to get their financial house in order.
Right. Got to prioritize. Can't be throwing money at every shiny new thing that comes along, especially when your core business is feeling the heat.
Exactly. Plus, it sounds like this big integration they dreamt up, the whole pharmacy meets doctor's office thing, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Connecting those two worlds, primary care and pharmacy, it's more complicated than just sticking them under the same roof. There are logistical headaches, data sharing issues, and then you've got the whole regulatory maze of healthcare to navigate, which is a whole other beast altogether.
So they're basically cutting their losses, admitting it didn't work out as planned, and going back to their roots as a retail pharmacy, which honestly kind of refreshing to see a company do.
Yeah.
Not every big swing is a home run, right?
Totally. Sometimes playing it smart is sticking to what you know, what you're good at. And Walgreens, they know pharmacy, they have the network, the brand, the customer trust. It's all there.
And it all circles back to that magical phrase we keep hearing, free cash flow. Walgreens is obsessed.
Obsessed for a reason, though. Free cash flow, it's the lifeblood of any business. It's basically the money they have left over after paying for everything they absolutely need to operate. That leftover money, it fuels everything else, new projects, paying off debt, and of course, those dividends that investors love.
So when Walgreens keeps saying they're laser focused on free cash flow, they mean they're tightening the belt, watching every penny, right?
Absolutely. They're scrutinizing every expense, looking for ways to be more efficient. Like, they keep mentioning optimizing their working capital, which sounds fancy, but basically means getting smarter about managing their inventory, how quickly they collect payments, that sort of thing. All those small improvements can really add up and boost their cash flow in the long run.
It's like balancing your checkbook, making sure you're not spending more than you earn, good old-fashioned financial responsibility, but on a massive scale.
Precisely. And they've already made some impressive moves. Remember that big pile of debt we talked about? Well, they've taken a big bite out of it, reduced it by a whopping $1.9 billion this past year.
Wow, they really are serious about turning things around. But with all this talk about cost cutting and efficiency, what does it mean for the Walgreens dividend? That's a big deal for a lot of their investors, especially people relying on those payments for income.
That's the million-dollar question, right? And Walgreens knows it's a sensitive topic. In the earnings call, they tiptoed around it a bit, saying they need to better align the dividend with their long-term earnings, whatever that means.
Which, in corporate speak, usually translates to, get ready, a dividend cut might be coming.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, better align. Yeah, that's corporate code for we might have to make some tough choices. And probably not the fun kind of choices either. So it's a tough spot to be in, no doubt about it. You got investors looking for their returns, but the company's got to make sure they can actually, stay afloat in the long run.
It's a balancing act, that's for sure. And the stakes are high, especially when you consider the bigger picture, right? I mean, this isn't just about Walgreens. It's about the whole retail landscape changing right before our eyes. You've got online giants like Amazon. Well, they're practically swallowing the world whole. And then there's the whole healthcare system itself. It's like a whole other beast. Costs are through the roof. Customers are demanding more. Yeah, it's a perfect storm of challenges for a company like Walgreens.
Talk about pressure. It's like they're trying to juggle chainsaws while walking a tightrope, blindfolded. But hey, you got to give them credit for at least trying, right? Making big moves, taking risks, not shying away from the tough decisions.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating to watch, to dissect, to try and understand. Because it's not just about one company's fate. It's about the bigger forces shaping our world, the choices we make as consumers, the whole 9 yards.
It really makes you think, The next time you walk into a Walgreens, grab your prescriptions, maybe pick up a candy bar, it's like, wow, this whole place could look radically different in a few years.
Right. And who knows what the future holds? Will they manage to hold on to that personal touch, that community feel, while still keeping up with the digital age? I mean, can you even be a pharmacy in the 21st century without, like, drone delivery and AI-powered prescription reminders or something?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's what makes these deep talks so interesting. We get to ask the big questions, explore the possibilities, and hopefully learn a thing or two along the way.
And who knows, maybe by the time we do our next deep dive, Walgreens will have pulled a rabbit out of their hat, completely reinvented themselves, blown us all away.
Wouldn't that be something? But for now, we're going to have to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay curious, keep asking those tough questions, and we'll keep bringing you the insights to help make sense of it all.